this is just our discussion on different things, whether we're talking about marketing, different types of things. Last week we talked about builder's warranty inspections and some of the problems in getting a list and other things that we've never had in the past. So we've been talking about that. And today I wanted to talk about pre-listing inspections. And I got just kind of the first question right out of the box on this. Um, is it worth your effort to do pre-listing inspections as a home inspector? I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, is it worth it to you? John, let's just start with you and talk about it. I mean, do you think it's worth it, a worthwhile strategy right now?
Yeah, it's a good program. I've pushed it real hard here. And I've had some pre-listing inspections. But in the market we're in the last 2 years, it's not happening. But before that, I really pressed it hard and I got some work out of it. Never got the full boat that I had hoped to get for it. I always kind of thought of that would be, great fill-in work to keep the schedule full, and it never fully developed to what I wanted it to, but it's good work when it comes in. Because there's no liability.
Right.
You don't have any
Right.
liability. You go in there, it's not like the people, well, I wouldn't have bought that house if you didn't tell me this. They got to sell the house. So you're going in there guns a blazing, full hammer down, and giving them the straight boot.
Yeah, you're kind of their advocate now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
did have
awesome.
I did have one though where I did the pre-listing inspection and coincidentally also got hired by the buyer to do the inspection again. And I won't do that again. I'll call it a conflict of interest for the future.
Yeah. I mean, that happened to us too. We've disclosed it or we've gone over the inspection report for a fee with them or whatever. So, but we definitely had that. Like, Gazelle, how about you guys? Are you doing pre-listing inspections there in
All the
Georgia?
time, all the
Yeah.
time.
You're in a
We
really
have an
vibrant
agent that
market.
every house that he's listing, he wants to do. We have actually three agents. They want to do a pre-listing before they put it on the market.
There is some business people in the real estate business. Wow. What do you know? We're going to invest our money to market your home and it has to be sellable. Woohoo.
Yeah. So, and then when they're buying the house, we go and do the inspection for the home they're buying. So it works really well for us. And we have an agent that loves this program because when we do the pre-listing inspection, I guess he, discloses everything. And then he shares the report with whoever agent is interested for their buyers. And
Mm-hmm.
this guy told us that two of the houses that we've done the pre-listing have sold over the asking price.
There you go. That is the key for the agents, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it reduces their liability from, failure to disclose lawsuits because, real estate agents, they walk through enough homes, they see things are glaring errors, they know them, but they fail to say anything about it when the seller doesn't cough that up on the old seller's disclosure
Mm-hmm.
statement. Now, and I know you guys live in a very vibrant market there in the metro Atlanta area, and so things still going good because we talked to you before the call, so that's fantastic. So it's definitely a worthwhile program to you guys. Now, DeAnthony, how about yourself? I mean, are you doing them? Is it a vibrant market and where you are and
Let,
what's happening with them?
let me say real quick, DeAnthony's in that market too.
Oh, in the metro Atlanta. Okay, good.
I do them, but I don't get them as much as I would like to. I always let people know, that I do pre-listing inspections and I give them the benefit of, getting ahead of those repairs and those things that may come up on the buyer's inspection report. For a few years ago, I don't do this anymore, but when I was first getting started to try to just get some business going and get my phone ringing, I would do a pre-listing checklist inspection.
Hmm.
All I'm doing is hitting the key areas, structural, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, but I'm not giving pictures or a report. It's just a checklist. Hey, do this, do this, do that. And that serves the report. And I was doing it for like 275, 250. And that was, some people hear that like, oh, okay, you're gonna tell me, but yeah, so some of them wanted it. So sometimes, some people will go for that And then 9 times out of 10, they would just go for the full inspection because they want the full report with the pictures and the videos and all this stuff. But I don't do the check. It's either gonna be all or nothing. So,
Yeah, that makes sense, complete sense. So, so do you have a formal program now and you push it with the real estate agents and others to try to get that business, or you just are so busy doing other things, you're not really working on that part of it?
formal program just specifically to promote pre-listing? No,
Mhm.
I don't. I just let them know that I do it and what's involved with it and, and how it could potentially help them, sell the home. But yeah, I'm not aware of any programs. And you guys have something? You seen that?
We
Why we're
have
here.
something. Yeah, we've been teaching it for years and years since we started. We always did them in our own home inspection company and found that they were hugely successful. There's certainly timing in the market when they're better than others. I mean, if you got 15 offers on the plate and you're not taking home inspections, that's not really the time to do them. But when you have higher interest rates and lower demand and there's a glut of homes on the market, it makes home shine. And like Zell said earlier, that people are selling these two they had sold over asking price because they
Mhm.
had all the things that laid out. So I mean, that's really a very important thing. So we'll talk about it in a minute. Brandon, how about you guys? You still doing them? I know you had some agents that liked them, some not so much.
Yeah, we've been doing quite a few of them. And I mean, this, Ken, we've been doing them a long, long time. In
Mhm.
fact, to your point, in the heat of the market, 21? So 2021 or so, when the market was just nuts. So we had a few agents that were doing all of their listings as a pre-inspection with us and a pre-listing inspection. And I mean, she did it. This one agent in particular, she never accepted an offer with the inspection contingency from a buyer. They just said, there's no reason, here's ours. We do the whole web page build and yard sign, everything like that too. So, and then even more now. So we are doing a lot of them when the market has now slowed down quite a bit and so yeah, I mean, it's been a huge thing for us. It didn't quite pick up like I hoped it would. I had some good conversations with some bigger teams here in town, probably back in the spring of this year. And a few of them really committed to doing a whole bunch of them with us, and then it never really turned into anything. But we do have a handful of agents that sent us quite a bit of them. We do probably a few a week, I'd say right now.
That's great. That is good. Let's look on here because I got some other questions. You guys are bringing them up, and I don't want to jump ahead on my slides here. What marketing techniques can we employ as home inspectors to reach home buyers or homeowners rather directly? So let's talk about what kind of things are we doing? Anybody doing anything now to go to home buyers directly? Brandon, obviously you have the page on your website, which is indexed into the search engine. So when people are typing in those search results, or looking for that type of inspection, then obviously your webpage comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I don't know that we're doing a whole lot. We've done a lot of networking with the agents, is mostly what we've pushed. Now with the NAR settlement and those kinds of changes now come into play, we probably should think about, other ways that we can get the word out about them. I mean, we do have people on occasion, they reach out to us, and I don't know if they find us because they search for, pre-listing inspection, or if they just know, hey, we're going to get a home inspection, so we know what, repairs we need to make or not. But we do work directly with homeowners getting ready to sell their house for this, so.
I know Beth and I have been looking for a little bit of property up in the Northeast Tennessee area. And I've noticed when I've looked on Zillow for some land, there has been quite a few homes for sale. And I will tell you, they've been on the market for a long time. I mean, what would keep us from sending a piece of direct mail to those people?
Mm.
Yeah, that is something that we've kind of had internal discussions about. We haven't taken action on it yet, but I think, I mean, our average days on market.
Everybody down on the internet.
Is it just me?
No, you're good.
Okay.
What happened, Kim? Oh, Kim froze.
Is it just, no, I think we're back now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
What was my thought?
We were
Oh,
talking about homes that were on the market for quite some time.
yeah, I think our average days on market right now is about 47 days. So it's not a ton of days. I mean, it is quite a bit from the, 14 days it was at the peak, um, but there's still, I mean, I had a conversation with an agent just a couple weeks ago. She was saying how frustrated she was with some of her sellers that they didn't want to lower the price on the house. They want to keep it up and it's not showing anything like that. And they've been on the market for 100 days. So,
Hmm.
so certainly, you can do some direct mail to those houses and get some attention that way.
Mm-hmm. I know that some of these were on the market for a lot longer than that. And when I just took a quick peek at them, because we're looking for land, not really a house, but they didn't look to be bad properties. But I guess, because people really are moving now. I'll tell you, living in the Metro Atlanta area, you can see neighborhoods where there's a lot of people got something for sale. I might be able to direct mail that. I might direct mail that whole neighborhood
Yeah.
to see what's happening. So it would be opportunities, but I think direct mail has an opportunity in this market to see
I
it.
think so.
Yeah. How about anybody else? Anybody else doing anything to reach home buyers directly for this program?
No, I just through agents or people that know us and, call us
Right.
and, explain what a pre-listing is
I think,
and the
with
benefits.
Sitzer Burnett, and I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it now. I've been talking about it for a while, but it was, in case you're unfamiliar with it, it was the judgment rendered by the courts on Keller Williams and the other major players for collusion, including the, National Association of Realtors and others. And they issued a $1.8 billion judgment. And because it was a collusive type judgment, the damages can triple. So you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar judgment. But what came out really more, not only would people that paid the buyer's agent's commission, the seller paid the buyer's agent's commission, are they going to be eligible for a refund? As a matter of fact, Beth and I did that 2 times, and we have a claims form now for 2 refunds on buyer's commissions. So as part of that settlement fund. But what it did was it basically said real estate home buyers rather do not have to pay the commission for home buyers. They do not have to. And real estate sellers can now negotiate any commission they want freely. And the real estate agent has to let them know that. And they have to sign off on a document that's let them know that. Okay, so now with that left, then because real estate home buyers do not, I mean, home sellers do not have to pay the buyer's commission, then what about the buyer's agent? How are they going to get paid? And so what happens is they have to sign an agreement with the client, and the client agrees to pay them a commission. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but not many buyers going to be doing that. And so there's a mass exodus of lots of real estate agents out of the market, and it's a good thing. So anyway, so what happens is your favorite listing agents, your favorite buyer's agents may be out there today and not there tomorrow. So when
Mhm.
we're talking about these types of programs, we really have to think is how can we reach these people post Sitzer Burnett, where we just went to real estate agents before. Okay, so there are lots of great ways that we have. I just didn't know what everybody was doing. But obviously, the program is very effective. But being able to reach that home seller directly is going to be one of the things that we're going to have to talk about later. But I just didn't know who was doing what now. Anybody else doing anything on John? You guys doing anything reaching out? I know, John, let me go back to you for a minute because are homes selling in your market?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's still very competitive because no inventory. And they're starting to waive inspections less, but they're still waiving them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And John's kind of landlocked where he is, in the Northeast, and there's really isn't any new construction or anything like that going in his community. Okay. So that's one of the things that we've been working on strategies to try to allow you to reach the home seller directly. So you'll see some new information coming about that. While we got real estate agents in the market, I think we should leverage all available resources. So basically, the next thing I wanted to really ask you about was How can we communicate effectively with agents now for the pre-listing inspections? And so I want to even go back to this one. I don't want to go back to that one for a second, but I want to stay on this one for a minute. So the question really, I guess the question I want to ask is, you guys have all probably talked to real estate agents about the pre-listing program, and some of them have been receptive. But of those who haven't been receptive, what are the reasons they don't want to participate? Anybody? John, you want to start off and say,
They
I
don't
mean,
want to they don't want to disclose anything. And
The
they don't want
same.
to, and they don't want to pay
I want to,
for a pre-listing inspection, but the seller doesn't want to pay and the seller's agent doesn't want to disclose.
okay. Anybody have anything different? That's been our experience.
not really
Our experience.
trying to, the agent, trying to let the agent know, the benefits of it. And someone's like, I don't want to have my client paying for it. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Mitchell, go ahead, Brad. We'll come to
I
Mitchell
think
in
it's
just a
just,
second.
I just think they're lazy. I mean, I agree with John. 100%. Like, those are the two main reasons that we get. We don't want to disclose and we don't want to pay for it. And it's just lazy, honestly. It's just bad business. They're not thinking the business side of it, I think. And if they would open their minds to it, then it's a great program. And I mean, I've got a few agents that totally buy into it now, especially they pay for it up front for their clients. So it's part of their listing package, I guess, right? And most of the buyers are coming in with waived inspection offers, just accepting our inspection. And there was one or two cases where, the buyers really wanted to get their own inspection done. And our agent, the seller's agent, knew that, if they did that, they're going to come back with repair negotiations and price reductions and whatnot. And he just said, hey, he called us up, said, hey, can you guys just come out, meet the clients, the buyers, and do a little consult? He's like, I'll pay for it, whatever it takes. I mean, so in that case, it cost him $500 plus, a consult fee. And, the price stayed up, the transaction went through, everybody's happy. And, so that's just like the perfect example of how this works so well.
Mitchell, what you got?
I'm from New York, and New York's got some really unusual real estate rules. It's all about ethics and about liability. Agents are trained to keep their sellers stupid. The less they know, the less information they can leak out and share. In New York, for 17 years, we had a non-disclosure program where a seller could give up $500 at the closing table and they were absolved of all liability, of all knowledge about what's wrong with their home. That law, for the first time in 17, just changed 3 months ago. And now they have to fill out that document either way. But if you fill out that document, then you could be liable for the information that's on there. So the less the seller knows, the better off that all parties are. And they're trained to keep them stupid.
Yeah.
So I bring it back to ethics.
Yeah. Okay, so
Mitchell.
it's back to ethics. Okay, so that's really interesting, Mitchell. I mean, who in the heck is a home buyer would waive their liability for $500? I mean,
It was required. It was
wow.
the seller gave up $500 at the closing table, and they were completely absolved of all liability to the condition of the home. And there's not a lawyer. We use lawyers here in New York, and there's not a lawyer that would take on a client unless they sign that document at that time. But that law just recently got reversed after 17 years.
Yeah, wow. Because, even in California and other places, they ruled that if you get the pre-inspection agreement signed on the driveway at the time of the inspection, the document wasn't valid because the
Correct.
client had no time to review
And no
it.
time to. You're
So,
100% correct. That's right.
That's pretty unusual that a state like New York would have that kind of law. So I think the question is that you've all tried to, I say we're not in the convincing business. I'm not in the convincing business. I'll share with you what I got. And if you were a buyer, perfect. If you're not a buyer of that information, see you later. So I guess the question is, we've been hearing it from the very beginning. I mean, is there any age difference of individual agents that are more receptive? In other words, are younger agents more receptive to the message as opposed to older agents, or do you find it's a mix of both? What's your experience on that? John, we'll start with you because you're at the top of my screen, bro.
I'm sorry, I was typing a chat here. What was the
Yeah, no, I
question?
was just trying to figure out of those that have done pre-listing inspections, were the agents younger or older or a mix?
I would say it's a mix. I don't think there's anything special that stuck out with me.
Are
But
there any young agents at all in your area, or is everybody old?
no, there's a good mix. There's a good mix. The ones that work with me tend to be the older ones, that I've known for years. I did a presentation at a Keller Williams office one time, and it was during one of their big things where they had Keller Williams agents in from all around, and apparently it's in one of the Keller books. He recommends doing pre-listing inspections. And the speaker said that, you know, all of you in this room should be doing pre-listing inspections, and it didn't take though.
Yeah. Well, the reason why Gary Keller wrote that in his book was because Gary Keller is a business person.
Right.
And he understands that you're going to spend your time and effort. I'm going to call those resources. So your money, your time, your effort trying to promote a listing that can't be sold because of these problems that exist where you could have solved it in the sooner. And your commission is still predicated on the price of the sale. So if the sale price is up, you make more money. Where's the down to this?
Yeah.
So
What I
agents
find with the
sometimes aren't
pre-listing
that smart.
inspections, I'm not certain if everybody feels this way, but a lot of the pre-listing inspections I do are homeowners that took real good care of their homes, that just they want to hear what a good job they did. You know what I mean? They're not looking for a problem. They're looking for me to find little problems because they think they've done a wonderful job.
So they still pay you, right?
No, they still pay me.
So listen, I can hug and kiss for green. I have to tell you, John, on that story, and I know you've heard it because you've been hanging around me since I started all this, but I had the first pre-listing inspection I ever did. I was like, all excited about telling them all these things that, happened and what needs to happen and all this. And the lady just broke down and cried right there on me. And I'm like, holy smoke. And I said, what are you crying about? She said, I'm so upset about this. All of these things are wrong with my house. And I'm like, okay. So I learned a very valuable lesson from that. Let's go ahead and set expectations of what this is and isn't on the driveway before we launch off. But I have always been a delicate inspector on pre-enlisting inspections. After that, that was horrible. The inspector made me cry. That wasn't the kind of review I was looking for. Oh, this is a great program. The guy came out, I was bawling after 10 minutes. I'm like, excuse me, oh my. So we didn't go that way. How about in your area now? Do you think is it a mix of the younger agents more hip to the program, or is it older, or is it kind of a mix for you?
You talking to me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was distracted because my phone just beat.
Yeah.
For us, it's the young agents.
The young ones are the more
yeah.
inclined to do it.
This young people that really are just eager to just make the money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the younger
Okay.
agents.
Now, DeAnthony, how about in your market, of those that you've talked to and are inclined to agree to something like this? Is it younger or older, or you just hadn't had any success with them at all? They're all stubborn.
It's been a mixed bag, man. The ones I get, it just varies. Some of the agents I partner with the view, there's a line there, and I think usually when agents are doing for the longest, if they have a house that they know is a problem, they usually call me to previous inspection so they can know how much of the problem they have. So I think sometimes they use that to set the expectation for the seller. If they know the house has got a lot of potential issues. So those are the ones, and it's been both younger and older. So usually I get them when it's a potential issue that's going to come up in the house, but they just want to be, let sellers know from a professional perspective and kind of set the expectation for them before they get.
Okay. And Brandon, how about you, younger agents, older?
I would probably say it's a little bit of a mix, but probably leans a little bit more towards the younger side. Trying to make a name for themselves, trying to,
Mm.
give a different approach, maybe set themselves apart from, other agents. One that we did, this has probably been several months ago, maybe it was last year, I don't remember, but it's an agent we do a lot of buyer inspections for, but he had a listing. We inspected for the seller to buy their move-up house, but they were contingent on the sale of their own house. And they had a buyer for it. And this is, back when things were really kind of slowed down. A lot of people got nervous. Rates were still on the way up, but they were pretty high. And the buyers backed out of their house. They said it was because of the inspection. No one really knows. It probably wasn't. And so in this case, though, the buyer still had an out. And we tell agents all the time, the biggest deal killer is a surprise. And so that's one of the things that we tell them is, because if we're still on this topic of, how do we effectively communicate, it's, we're going to mitigate any surprises that may come about. That way it has a better chance of that deal staying together rather than backing out. So ultimately we went and did the inspection. New buyers came in, accepted our inspection, bought that house so that the sellers could go buy their other house that we inspected already, and everybody was happy. So that's just, I like to use these examples when I'm talking to people about it, just because it gives them these different situational, things that help them understand, this is why this would be a good reason to do it.
The best salespeople are storytellers. If you
Right.
can share a story that's relatable to others, then the fact of the matter is you can close the deal 9 times out of 10, whether you're doing it on a website or whether you're doing it wherever. That's why case studies and reviews are so critical in the success of home inspectors. Now, Mitchell, are you obviously, because of that law for 17 years, this program wasn't that viable. But now that that law's gone, do you see that the program could be viable in your market? I mean,
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
it's interesting. When that law changed, we were given 4 or 5 months notice, and I actually invested a bunch of money in marketing pre-listing inspections because I used to do them regularly. I did that as a service for my regular agents that referred business to me for their listings. I would go out and and look at a property with them on behalf of the seller, and to be frank with you, no, it did not pay off. And once again, they still have to fill out the form. The form is still there, but now they have to fill it out. Okay. And the form is worded in a way that stipulate it's to the best of your knowledge. And as long as that states that, it's really not a law. It's too soft. It really nothing changed other than the $500 transfer of asset. So to the best of their knowledge, the homeowner does not know anything's wrong, but they have to check everything off. That's the difference. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So
Yeah, well, we have
did
that
not
in a
change.
lot of states too. And I will tell you, failure to disclose lawsuits have still come from that, because what happens is people will go back and subpoena records of plumbing companies or roofing companies or whatever it happens to be. And they do get judgments on that all the time. So at least you've gotten some leverage. I think it's more of a mindset thing where your market is right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
kind of.
ethics. It's ethics.
Yeah, kind of crazy, isn't it? I think Setzer Burnett will clear out a bunch of the crowd in your market as well coming up. It's happening now. You're really going to start to see it accelerate as we go forward. I want to follow up on this question for a minute. I want to see if you think this is true or not, because when we craft marketing materials for the program, it's important to have your feedback. So one of the groups, I think if it's one of the groups that recommends pre-listing inspections, from my looking at it from countrywide in my own home inspection company, was those that would you consider business people. Okay, so if you were a business person and you understand return on investment, you're more inclined to recommend a pre-listing inspection. I mean, I had them older like Giselle said, that would not take a listing without that, but they were business people in their first life.
Yeah.
Okay, so they understood ROI, return on investment. Okay, so would the one think about the ones that you have dealt with that are younger or older, and do you think that they were business people in their first life, and that's why they think this makes sense?
I think that for them, the younger, they're just eager to, make the most of, what they're selling. The others are just like business people that, don't want anything to get in the way. No contingency because of another inspector coming in. It's there, bring your own inspector if you want, but this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want
That's
to
been my experience in some ways.
respond to that if I may. In real estate, and I'm only going to talk about my market because I'm very analytical. I study the numbers quite aggressively. 95% of the work is done by 5% of the population. Okay, in real estate, and that's pretty common nationwide, but it's certainly heavy in this market. It might even be like a 97.3. With that stated, the 3% of those people doing the volume, okay, are your more full-time players, the people that do it as a business. The other 97% do it as a hobby. So those people are not business people. Those people are doing it for the extra change so they can make their Mercedes-Benz payment because they all show up with that Mercedes-Benz at the inspections. So they can go on their vacation. That's what they do it for. No other reason. It's fun money. So I can't disagree with you. I think that the people that are truly vested in the industry and understand the analytics of the industry would be more inclined. They're not doing it here, but I could see that they might be.
Okay. And how about Brandon? And we're gonna come on and work you guys. What do you think? The people that are doing them with you now, were they some business person, some had business experience in their first life before they got into real estate biz?
I would say some of them, yeah. I've got a few that come to mind, but that definitely did have a different career and a different life. But I mean, I think I want to respond now to Mitchell because I 100% agree that the professional agents that focus on the service of their clients, those are the ones that really buy into this. And I think that the whole reason that we're in the position that we are with the Sitzer Burnett case is that the client in a lot of cases for many years has been forgotten. And it has been all about chasing the money versus, serving the customer. And so I think the result of the case itself now is going to start to, like you're saying, Ken, weed out some of these part-time agents, the non-professionals. I'm very excited to see that happen because then we get to actually begin to work with true professionals that care about the customer, as we do, because they're going to be the ones that say, hey, don't use the cheap guy, upgrade to the additional services, get the sewer scopes, those are the guys that truly want the best for the client. And so that's what I'm excited to see is things change over the next, 8 to 12 months is my guess is let's weed out the non-professional agents so that we can truly start serving our people.
And that brings up a whole nother set of questions that I'm going to come back to because let's just say today, and we just throw the gauntlet down as a marker for today, as the buyer's agents that can't or won't extract that agreement with the home buyer about you pay my commission for whatever reason. When those people go away, then we're left with round two, some of buyer's agents that are more professional, okay, and may be able to get that. But then we're stuck into a whole different scenario and what happens in the market disruption from here.
Yeah.
And I want to get to that in a minute, but I want to get back to this for just a second. So, DeAnthony and John, did y'all have any different experience about this? In other words, the person you dealt with were business people, the ones that were more interested in the program?
No, I think the more experienced agents are the ones that were the ones saying, we don't want to disclose anything.
So they commission hoes.
Yeah.
I got them. I know the commission hose. We had them all our whole life too. I know them. Now, DeAnthony, how about yourself? Those that did it, you think they were more business oriented in their first life than they actually worked for a company and knew it or owned another company?
You mean as far as the pre-listing program?
Yeah, if they were going to recommend pre-listing inspections, were the ones that actually were engaged in it, were they business oriented before they came to the real estate biz?
These are usually ones that, yeah, they work professional and they're full-time, you know, agents, real estate. Those are the ones that, you know, because they understand the value. And so they present that value to their clients. So typically the ones that do get the pre-listing, you know, they're professional and real estate is their business. It's how they, you know, eat.
I think that from my own experience, and we did over 35,000 home inspections before I sold it. The fact of the matter is the people that did pre-listing inspections were those that had business experience before they came, or they understand the aspect of bringing value to their home seller that others weren't bringing, because they would go in and pitch them. You can sell your home for quicker with less hassle for more money. And let me tell you how. It's only $350 or $400. The home buyer's like, man, in the scheme of things, this is nothing. Home seller, let's do it. So they were either business experience before they came, or they understood the value of what they bring that other agents weren't bringing. So that's kind of been my own experience. But when we produce marketing materials for the new era, we have to understand who is our target audience. So we're not going to be going after the commission hose. I think those are on both sides, the buyer's agent side and the listing agent side. So those are only interested in the commission, could care less about the customer, close the sale, don't worry about it. I got them on to the next commish. It'll be determined whether they make it or don't make it. Let's talk about this one, because I think this is where we're going to get into some other interesting things. How can inspectors partner with forward-thinking real estate agents who support pre-listing inspections? So I know that we do what we do now, okay? And I'm very familiar with the program. I created our own program and we've taught it for years. The question I really want to think is further, more in depth in this. So Giselle has got these agents that she's doing these pre-listing inspections with. Okay, how is it you could strengthen your relationship with them to help them get more pre-listing inspections for you? I mean, let's think about this. Here's just an example. Could you do a video together?
Video, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, with one of the agents, we talked about doing a podcast video.
Okay. Now, our fancy staff calls that a vodcast. So I just call it a podcast with a video. But no, listen, I've already been corrected on our own team because we do them. You know, we do it. We have a podcast, we have the whole thing, and it's a vodcast. So anyway, but no, I think that's a great idea. I mean, we're really talking about education-based marketing is really what we're talking about. So any other ideas that you might have had on that? I love that.
No, that's one of the ideas that, doing video podcast.
Here's one that we've done, and it's just another, strategy that you've taught for many years, Ken, and we use it with our home, buyer's agents, is the endorsement campaign. And so we've got an agent, we've done he really kind of bought into this pre-listing inspection. I'd probably say, I don't know, 8 to 12 months ago. We've done dozens of them for him now that we've gotten to this point. And so I asked him, hey, do you want to just share your experience with us, specifically working with your sellers and doing pre-listing inspections? So he gave us a little testimonial. We put his face on a card, got a little 3-card campaign that goes out, and we've targeted some of the top agents, listing agents. I've said this many times, we're a small market. We don't have a lot of, I don't know, we've got really the majority, kind of like Mitchell was saying, 3% of the agents do 90% of the work, right? So So we've targeted some of those top agents that do a lot of the listings. You know, we're probably due to do some more follow-up on that. But you know, just another endorsement campaign. It's nothing fancy about it.
Mm-hmm. So let's think about this. And I have a face for radio, but I love the video concept. Been doing them a long time. And how about if you pitched what's in it for a home buyer on video, and your partner agents could take that and show it to their clients. And you included a case study of how it helped others, Brandon, like you were talking about earlier. So you, as the home inspector, did a video really going through a couple of case studies about how it helped other sellers achieve their dream, both in higher prices and no renegotiation, how they got estimates from qualified contractors in advance when issues were found, and how it made the sale smooth, and how few other people then brought a home buyer's inspector. What do you guys think about that? And then the agent shows it to the client when he's pitching that service.
Yeah.
Takes his tablet out and they just watch it right there together.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that kind of listing appointment they talk about, right? Where they're going. I mean, it's kind of an interview for a lot of them. So I think that's another great way to do it. I mean, you can even produce a little flyer, you know, that they can present to them right there on the spot as well to go along with the video. You know, some of our agents pay for the inspection themselves up front. Some of them, and that's where it's a little harder. I mean, almost all of them, you know, you talk to them and you say all the reasons why you should do a pre-listing inspection, but most of them will say, hey, that's a great idea. I just can't afford it, but I'll try to talk my sellers into it. And they never do. They don't really, I guess I should say, they don't give it the real good, you know, conversation that it deserves. But I think that's a great way to do it.
I think so. You just nailed an objection. You've heard this objection.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I really can't afford it. But really what happens is what that really means is they don't see what's in it for them specifically to plunk down their funds. Because when you think about a $300,000 home and you do the math on it, 6% commission, they get 50%. Now they split with their broker, and I get it. Yeah, fundamentally drill it down, they got several $1,000s there.
Yeah.
So, and the listing agent the same way. So why wouldn't the listing agent say, I'm going to take $300 of my money? Or why wouldn't the listing agent be smart and say, hey, here's the story. Here's what I'd like to do. I want you to pay for it. And here's what's going to happen is if your home doesn't sell within this time for less hassle and for more money than what we're requesting, I'll reimburse you for that fee. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. But when people throw up an objection, I don't know if I can't afford it, that just means they don't understand really what's in it for them to plunk down their money.
Yeah.
So when you hear that in the sales situation, you need to reverse. Where do you hear it mostly? I need to talk to my husband before I book, or I need to talk to my wife before I book the home inspection. You know what that means? They're not sold.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we can read these objections and then try to rework back, for instance, and I'm coming to you, Mitchell, just a second, but the question I would ask the agent, help me understand how a $400 investment in the sale of your listing with less money, less hassle, and sold quicker isn't worth it. I mean, I'm searching for information only. And then let them talk to you, and then shut up and let them talk to you. Because what they're going to do is they're going to say, well, that doesn't make sense. So then I'd say, well, you know what happens is when I hear this kind of statement, I always wonder if I didn't explain the program very well. You know, and I just have a conversation with them. And pretty quickly they're like, this makes sense completely. Or they think this is nonsense. It's like, why wouldn't you get a radon test on your own home? You're going to breathe toxic gas? Like, what are you, an idiot? Maybe you should not get a radon test. Maybe you should croak because you're a silly idiot. Yeah. So, but when you hear those things, whether it's on a home inspection call or whether it's someplace else, when you're out there, you have got to recognize that's an objection and then understand in advance how you're going to deal with it. So that, because otherwise you can't be an effective salesperson. Mitchell, tell me what you got.
I did come on to the call a little bit late, and I hope that I'm not bringing something up that may have been addressed, and I apologize if I did. My question would be, and maybe you want to survey the people on the call. Should there be a difference in price between a pre-listing inspection and a regular inspection? We're talking about marketing pre-listing inspections, which I'm a huge advocate of it. I think should double our business. I think every home sold should have a pre-inspection and a post-inspection. It should be done by the seller and the buyer. It would change the industry overnight. But the question I have is, going out and doing a pre-inspection on someone's home, do you charge the same fee that you would for a regular inspection?
I think most everybody here does that now, whether that's the right thing or not the right thing. I'd say they probably do it now, charge the same fee.
Which I think they should. And I'm just curious if people are discounting that because they feel that's a way to get that business, which is really not the appropriate way to sell. You don't want to discount your value. You want to show your value.
Right.
I'm just curious what people are doing.
If the agents, you think it's a good idea to maybe discount for your agents if they're paying?
I have trouble. I can't hear.
Is it a good idea to discount it slightly for your agents if they're paying for the premium?
I wouldn't discount it for anyone, because are they going to discount their commission?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I do. I mean, so here's the thing. What we do is sell value. I mean, and as long as we're bringing tremendous value, I mean, if you get they're getting a 10x or more return, way more than 10x return on our little inspection fee. So I'm kind of like, nah, I'm opposed to giving monetary discounts of any type. I would rather give discounts on ancillary services that you might not purchase otherwise. But I'm not really a big fan of, discounting our services or base fees. But I want to come back to that because we have a couple of other questions that are really important for us. So let's think about what else we could do with our partners. Could we promote them in some other way? Can we do joint ventures? Could we do social media with them? How about this? How about when they sold a home that you pre-listed, you got on social media and raved about them, or you guys did an interview together that you could put on a video platform of why that house sold, so others could see it, because who else is going to see it? Everybody that's on your social media network that may or may not be buying a home or selling a home at this moment, right? So really, aren't we planting seeds? Okay. How about doing an interview with them on why they recommended and put it on your blog so that others see it? How about having a agent, a section that says successful agents do these things and have them on there? I mean, what other ways could we promote it? So that's the thing. I think when buyers agents go away, are you guys going to be in a position to recommend agents to others? I mean, there's no buyer's agents you're getting business from now. I mean, you're reluctant to do it now because you got buyer's agents, right? But let's say they go away. Now, can we make referrals to seller's agents who are doing the things that we want? I think it's a whole new ball game. I mean, I think it's a whole new ball game once they get out of here. Okay, so I want you to start thinking, what is it we can do to help the agents that are really helping us with the program? Not lower the price. Don't do that ever. But I think what happens is, what can we do to help them get more of those sales? Because when they get more of the sales, it helps us. Okay, so I think that's a big thing. And then we're going to get into a couple of other things. Anybody else have any ideas about that? Obviously, we can do flyers. We could do I like, when we used to do these first-time homebuyer seminars, and everybody slept out to a banquet room in a hotel, and it was unpredictable about how many people would show or not show, and this, that, and the other. One day, Beth and I, we were doing one in Woodstock, I think it was, for you guys that live in Atlanta. And we were there, and about 3 people, it was a rainy night, and everybody was there, and so about 3 people showed up. And I said to Beth, "What are you gonna do?" I said, I want you to pull out that video camera I brought. I want you to go back in the room, and I'm going to tape the Ken Compton pre-listing show right here. Okay. And guess what I did? All right. And then I used that to show home inspectors in the future how you can do this thing. But now I'm a big fan of Zoom meetings. And one of the things COVID did was got more people familiar with Zoom than ever before. And Zoom really has some great tools now. Okay, why couldn't you work with those buyers? Let's say the listing agent has 6 buyers, the properties are sitting. Why couldn't you guys do a mini workshop for them on the value of pre-listing inspections and tell case studies about what it's done for your clients that maybe weren't associated with that agent? You don't have to schlep out anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your cost? 0, your time. But when you start saying to the agents, let me help you provide more value for your service, and in return, we get more business. This is a win-win. Okay, so I think we should really say I think I would ask them, how can I help you get more business through pre-listing inspections? And I would recommend some things. Could we do some videos? Could we do this? Could they put your video on their website of talking about this and doing some case studies? And you know what happens is now you've extended your reach because you have a video on their website, and those people would have never known about you unless they watched that website. So you've extended your reach tremendously. What if you had 7 agents in your community that did it? Okay, so that's a big thing. There's lots of ways here that we can leverage this to get more. So another thing I want you to think about is post-Sitzer Burnett, as a lot of the buyer's agents move away, and this is where I want to talk about this for a minute, but I don't want to dwell on it. It's uncertain the next iteration of the market disruption. And when I say that, let's just say that if you believe the predictions, 60 to 80% of existing buyer's agents are going away. Okay, and just think about it on a lower number. They're going away immediately. Okay, so then who's going to pick up those services, whatever those services were, that the buyer's agents were providing to the buyer? Is that going to fall on a listing agent? And then there's the big legal issue about dual agency. Okay, that's a nightmare. Okay, but let's say this: if only the most professional listing agents are left and a big portion of the buyer's agents are gone, would those people that are left, the agents that are left, be more amenable to getting that property sold and adding pre-listing as a competitive advantage to their tool bag?
I think so. Are you talking about sellers agents?
Sellers agents, because the buyer's agent's going to say ta-ta.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think so. In fact, I was having a conversation with a broker a week or 2 ago who really thinks there's a big shift here, a lot more so than some of the other brokers in town. And he actually even said that he thinks that buyer's agents will probably have to do more of that kind of marketing and selling more services in terms of, like, for example, a listing agent is going to pay for staging or photos, right? Out of pocket. Potentially a buyer's agent, and I know this isn't the topic, but a buyer's agent may offer to pay for an inspection as well.
That'll never happen.
You don't think so?
That may be considered collusion if they do.
No, potentially. Just an idea that came out, but
there's no telling where we're going. I mean, so I said this, Mitchell, to
may
the
not be
guys
legal. Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. Let's say this. Let's say Brandon goes in a post-Sitzer Burnett and says to the listing agent, to the home seller, you no longer have to pay the buyer's commission. And oh, by the way, my commission is negotiable. Okay, and I need you to sign off saying that I explained this to you. So the home buyer, seller asks a few questions and says, great, I'm going to pay only 3% because you're no longer splitting that commission with the buyer's agent. So Brandon said, okay, I can take it. I'll take it. So they come in number 2. So now what happens is Dill goes in for a presentation and he does another professional presentation. And guess what? He says he'll take it for 2%. Okay, then what happens? Beth goes in and does a great professional presentation. She said, I'll take it for 1%. And I come in behind him, and I am a flat fee broker, and I said, I'll take it for $539. Okay, then what? So we have no idea where we are today We're sitting here today where we're going to be in 12 months.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, anytime profits can be made, others move in. And I mean, Zillow, you can already go and show an empty house, just get a code from them, and so are the other big ones. I mean, we are in a market disruption. Okay, so we're in the beginnings of it. So who knows what's going to happen? But if it was me, I would be talking to people that own flat fee real estate agencies. I would be talking to those listing agents today that might be amenable to the program and say, hey, this, if buyer's agents are going away and you're going to have to market the business. See, when Beth sold the real estate, guess what? They actually sold real estate. They looked up the listings and found them for the client, did all that stuff. How novel of an approach. You know what they do now? They follow the idiom in the real estate business. You don't list, you don't last. Because if you just list it, somebody else will sell it. But this is what home sellers are upset about. I'm paying you these massive dollars, and what are you doing for me? Okay, they're not going to keep doing it. And I saw $3 trillion could come out of the real estate economy because home sellers ain't going to be doing that no more. Okay, it may take a minute for it to happen, but I would be identifying everybody I could and then thinking how I can partner with them.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I mean, it's not the rifle approach, it's the shotgun approach. You got to get BBs out there before you get somebody. But I be having these discussions because honest brokers, Brandon, like the one you're talking to, realizes where we're going. And he's excited about it.
Oh, he is. He's very excited.
Yeah, because he wants to push the dead wood out.
Yeah.
So do a lot of other brokers. Now, the brokers are saying today there's really going to be no change. Those people are delusional and they just don't want their staff to leave. Okay, but that's the only thing they have because the federal law applies to them. The new rules that went in August 17th apply to them just like they do everyone else. So that's interesting. Okay, anybody else just think through it. Any questions?
One of the things that I've been wondering is if there's an angle to market this as in this market where the inventory is so bad up here in Connecticut, if there's a way to market this as a reduction of liability. When everybody's waiving inspections, this is a way to help protect the seller's agent from the buyer coming back and suing.
I would sell it that way. Honestly, John, I mean, that really is when you think about it, the seller has not escaped liability. And where you are, John, do they still have to fill out a seller's disclosure statement?
Yeah, but it's like what Mitchell was saying. It's a joke.
They're all that way.
Unknown. And honestly, the last half a dozen houses I've inspected have been vacant. They're like estates, and there's separate rules for estates.
You're excluded. Yeah.
If you didn't live in the house, no disclosures need.
Right.
That's legitimate. I mean, that's fair. I mean, you didn't live there. You got no clue. So that's it. So that's that. Okay, but I would mark it as a liability reduction. It's a liability reduction.
It is.
I mean, a huge liability reduction. And agents have gotten sued by the boatloads across the US for they're an experienced agent. They see this has this, or this, and they've just encouraged the seller not to do it, to disclose it. And when it comes out in court, oh, the agent told me not to disclose it. That's why I didn't. And boom, they're sued. So I would sell it as a liability lessener, if you will, for a lack of better terms, a reduction of liability on the agent's behalf. I mean, and when you're talking about the dollars the homes are selling for in your market, my gosh. I mean, it's like Mitchell, some of those only maybe because New York has different boroughs, where you don't have that. You got the richy rich and the richy rich. Only degree of richer.
One of those towns tomorrow morning. I'm doing a 7,000 square foot house tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And John, just out of curiosity, what's the sales price on it?
3.9.
Whew. That's where Brandon lives. Oh, $3,900. Sorry, Brandon. I thought that's what he meant. That's what Brandon charged. I'm telling you, that's huge. That's huge. I'm kidding you guys. Okay. Let's look at a couple of other things. And then I'm going to take anything else you got outside of this. Okay. So this is really the value of relationships. And you know, what partnerships can home inspectors form with their preferred vendors to offer trustworthy, affordable solutions to home sellers for issues found during the inspections? Okay, so really, remember how we've talked about our partner vendors and what an opportunity we have here. So one of the things that was a big problem when we did pre-listing inspections, and we did tons of them, is who's going to make these repairs? Okay, and one of the things is we said that we want you to get trusted people to do the repairs that will stand behind it. So you get a bill for where they repaired it, they said what they repaired, boom, they stand behind their work. Okay, so if we have and you know, everybody's state laws are different, so I get that. But in most states, you can still do this. Okay, so they're not paying you for the referral. So let's just get that out. They're not paying you anything for this. But you have these partner vendors and you're helping each other get more leads or your preferred vendors, then I think that's one of the selling points that you have. Hey, we have a list of preferred vendors that we give out to all of our clients, not just on pre-listing inspections, but these people can help you make these repairs. Now, you can get a quote from them if you want and get other quotes as well. Okay, how does that make your partner vendors feel? Does it help you sell your program?
It gives more value to them to want to be a part of your network.
That's right. That's right. So, and it really helps you too, doesn't it? Because now what do you bring? A list of partner vendors to your inspection. So is that a USP for you?
I think so, for sure.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? When I say USP, unique selling point, nobody else that's quoting on this pre-listing or trying to get it has a network of preferred vendors. Okay. We bring that. Okay, I think that's a tremendous opportunity because, you know, one of the things, and let's just say this, in this market, when Beth and I moved here to the Villages area, we didn't know anyone. Okay, and so we were constantly trying to find people that we know, like, and trust, and we found some that we didn't know, like, and trust, and we won't use them again. But if Brandon or John or any of you guys on this call tonight or gals had a list and you were confident in them, I would at least talk to them. Okay, where now I'm not having and this is a Southern term, take a pig and a poke, y'all. You know, if you don't know what that means, that just means around an old brown bag, pull out whoever's in there and just hope for the best. That ain't working out. That hadn't worked out here. So I think that's a tremendous USP, both for you and for your partner vendor. Okay, so could you work those partner vendors in for some case studies? You know, hey, we got a referral from Brandon the other day on a homeowner. The homeowner had this problem, and here was the issue. We fixed it, and everybody was happy. And the homeowner comes on and says something really nice. I mean, I can see a lot of ways we can bring more value to our pre-listing inspection process than we are today. Okay. Because we're a little bit over time, and I want to get this one last thing. I know Brandon's got a coaching job. He does a little coaching for his little league team. Okay, what techniques can home inspectors do to follow up with past clients for referrals? How many of you who are doing pre-listing inspections are getting reviews on 100% of them?
Oh, gosh, no. Reviews?
Every 5 inspections, I probably do 2 or 3 reviews.
Okay, so think about this. We're really only talking pre-listing inspections for this call. So if you're doing a pre-listing inspection and you're somebody's advocate and they help you get their home prepared to you know, sell quicker with less hassle for more money, would you set the expectation up at the top? If I help you do that, you're going to give me a nice review so I can continue to serve others just like you in the community? And I'd have 100%. Okay. So get 100%. There's no reason why. These aren't an adversarial relationship. Oh, if you'd have told me this, that doorknob was loose, I would have paid him $20 less or not bought the home because the doorknob was loose. Really? Okay, fine. I get that. So when you're doing standard home inspections, the rate of reviews that you get is going to be lower. I get it. I mean, baby boomers were reluctant to write anything. I mean, I have made myself as a baby boomer write reviews for companies that I've really valued their service or their product, because I know we're so hard to get reviews from baby boomers. Okay, so I do it intentionally. But when I didn't do it intentionally, I just didn't do it. That's nice. I'll give you a review. And then I never did it. But why, what's the impediment from getting 100% reviews from this group? I'll tell you what it is, probably not asking or not following up.
Yeah.
Okay, but these people love you. Okay, that you're there to help them. I mean, I hope to goodness you coach them. I coached them. I said, here's what we're going to do today. My job is to find things a buyer's home inspector is going to find. And you know what? I'm going to share with you the things I think that we should fix. And then I'm going to talk to you about the other things. And if these things you don't want to fix, I'm going to talk to you about how we can deal with that too. Because you know what? I know this for a fact. When buyers come in and find things wrong with a home based on their buyer's home inspector, guess what happens? They want those things fixed and they want to renegotiate the price lower of the home. So let me help you avoid that. So when I do these things, man, they love Old Ken. They can't wait to give me a review. So start coaching if you're not. Okay, tell them what you're going to do, how you're going to help them, make them your biggest advocate in the world. They'll give you reviews and they'll let you do case studies on their property. Because Giselle told us earlier that 2 of them she was familiar with sold for more money. What a hell of a case study. Okay.
One sold for $50,000 more than asking price.
Now that is a case study.
Yeah.
Okay. As a case study. Okay. That is, what else do you need to say? Sold it for more than 50G. And you know what? The only other thing you say, and they didn't bring their home inspector with them. Woohoo! Man, you cornered the market right there. One other thing I want to ask you about this. And this is an opportunity to sell more services. How many of you today bundle other services with your pre-listing inspections or offer services in addition to your pre-listing inspections? How about if they live in a
Sewer
radon
scopes,
zone? How about if they live in a
radon
radon zone?
sewers.
Yeah.
Mhm,
How about if they have a pool and spa? Okay.
that too. Yeah.
Okay.
That is a one that probably is worth discussing. I do have to jump off, but I'll watch if you guys discuss it a little bit more because we do have a challenge. You know, it's hard enough to get them to buy a pre-listing inspection, then try to upsell them on that. You know, obviously we don't upsell, we downsell, but you know, help because some of them will think, well, I'm already doing the home inspection as a seller. Maybe not doing a radon or a sewer scope. They'll typically skip that. So
So my thing is this, I'm a math person and I just say, okay, let's do the math. You know, the home is worth X. You're trying to sell it for X. Okay, if you can sell it for X or the listing price or higher, that's a good thing. But what if somebody comes in, they bring their buyer's agent with them and they do a radon test? Now you got a mitigation issue to deal with if it's elevated. And how about a sewer scope? Why wouldn't we just bundle all of those things in where we know we have those problems and say, hey, you know what happens is we can lower the price if you're not interested in those. But here's the problem with that. Because nobody likes to be upsold. Nobody minds being downsold, but they don't want to be upsold. But bundling, I'm telling you, is an opportunity to sell more services because your standard we're going to go in, but if you know and you wouldn't offer those things. For instance, if you saw what appeared to be mold, okay, so then does it make sense to offer a mold test? Said, you know, when we came out and did this, you know, we had no idea that, you know, this might have mold, but you know, now it does. And you know, somebody's going to see this and we got to figure out what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, now we can offer some reduced prices for ancillary services to make them feel better. Normally we charge X, but you know, today we're going to charge this because we're already doing this, you know, full service inspection for you.
Mhm.
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to do other things. Oh, we didn't realize you had a swimming pool. When was the last time you had that done? Or if your home was built before the days when asbestos was there, you know, have we done any environmental testing? So I think you should think about it. Bundling. Your competitors are just going to go in there and do a home inspection and a traditional home inspection. They're not going to coach. They're not going to do the things we talked about, and it'll be harder for them to get it. But then somebody else drags their buyer's agent in, and guess what happens? That's it. Beth and I've sold through Flat Fee Realty our homes twice. We got appraisals, we got our own home inspections, and get pre-listing inspections. And guess what happens? Nobody drug their home inspector in there. They didn't. We just bought the maximum package the home inspector had. They were trustworthy. Their report was excellent. We furnished it right there on the internet and for everybody to see and have, and nobody drugged their home inspector in there. So, and the home sold for a lot more than we were asking. So, so that's a good thing. Okay. How about other things now? Anything you want to get into? I just want you to start thinking about all the possibilities that we have here. I mean, yeah, we know the pre-listing inspection program from the old days. How can we dress that sucker up to make it more valuable, more profitable to us, and more attractive to the people who are helping us with it?
You know,
That's where I want you to go.
Ken, I think, and I don't, this is not an easy thing, but I think that some review of legislative issues might help push pre-listing inspections in the future. What I mean is to eliminate the complete lack of liability on the behalf of the seller. If the seller had a little bit more exposure when they sell $3, $4, $5, $6, $700,000 product to someone, it should not be just as is. There should be some level, maybe even if it's governing escrows or saying, you know, we put money away because if something shows up that we feel that you should have known about, we have some recourse. That would change pre-listing inspections overnight. But that's a political issue. That's big.
It is, you know, that it's like herding cats. It's
Yes.
those characters. But I think what happens is every opportunity you have to get on a podcast, or every opportunity you have to get on any type of media program, whether it's local media or whatever, you can even pitch them on the story, the value of pre-listing inspections. I see those kinds of articles around the internet. Okay, so I think that we're going to have to do a lot of marketing education to let home sellers understand what's in it for them. What's in it for them, we're going to tell them directly. What's in it for them by using this program. See, I personally am a professional marketer. Okay, so I couldn't wait to throw the yoke of the real estate agent off of our necks. Okay, because now I'm going to tell my own story the way it should be told, and not through the lens of some real estate agent. Okay, you don't need a radon test. No, you don't need a mold test. You don't need that. They're just trying to sell you something. You don't need that. Well, how come, Mr. Buyer, how come you didn't get that? Well, my agent told me I didn't need it. Oh, really? Okay. Well, you know what? So I had an example. I'll give you an example. And I always tell this story. I know I went into a home one day and I said, I noticed that you didn't decide to get a radon test. And I said, you know, 1/3 of the homes in this particular community have been tested, have elevated radon levels. And I said, tell me what you know about radon. And I never asked them, do you know anything? I said, tell me what you know about radon. And they'll say, well, I don't really know much. And I said, well, how come you opted not to get a test? And they said, well, my agent told me I didn't need it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I never go any further, except I'm going to talk to their agent, of course. But then I go along for a minute and I asked the home buyer, I said, I'd like for you to take 2 minutes, if you will, and just walk this way with me. I know you're doing something else, but when you get a minute, just if you join me right here, I'll show you something. So he comes over there and I said, do you see that right there? And he said, yes. And I said, do you have any idea what it is? And he said, looked at it and he said, not a clue. And I said, it's a radon mitigation system. And he's like, oh. And I said, but you know what happens is your agent told you didn't need to get a radon test, but there's already a radon mitigation system here. And he said, good, now I won't have to put one in. And I said, hold on a second. How do you know it works? So you know what? We got a radon test and we made an educated buyer. And I use that as a case study all the time. When they say, oh, my agent told me I didn't need a radon test. And I said, well, let me tell you a story. And I tell them that story.
I want to add
And
to
we get
that.
it. Huh?
I want to add to that.
Yeah.
I used to tell this story when I would schedule home inspections, and this part of the story was the guy said, "Oh, well, great. There's a radon mitigation system in there. I'm covered, right?" And Ken goes, "Well, how do you know if it works or not without a test?" So the guy decides to go ahead and get a test, and he had elevated levels of radon. They never finished it. What'd they do? A pre-install, and that was it, Ken?
A
So the
pre-install.
radon mitigation system wasn't even functioning.
Yeah. Yeah. So these little anecdotes, these little stories that you can tell that you build up in your tool bag, you should be telling. So I just think there's a lot of opportunities for us to really go with things. So if you can get on anybody's media, their podcasts, newspaper articles, whatever you get, blog posts, get on there and talk about pre-listing inspections. But you have to go from the angle from what's in it for the buyer. I mean, the home seller, what's in it for the home seller, not for the real estate agent. Forget them. They're going to be gone.
I want to
Okay.
say something again. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Also make videos, make your own video and just have it explain, like Ken said, educate your buyers or your sellers, educate them all. But you could do a video on the importance of a pre-listing inspection and like Ken said, do the case study, but you can do your own video. Getting with others works big time. But if you're like, who am I going to get with? I can't get it. Do it yourself. Make your own videos.
Not only would I do it myself, but when I sent direct mail, I'd have that YouTube link right in there where I did it myself, talking to that buyer about why, I mean, that seller about why this is important to them. So
Mhm.
every time they got my direct mail, they'd get a link, they'd click on that link and boom, and my link would be say, sell faster with less hassle for more money.com. Okay, now that'll be gone this afternoon. Hopefully one of you smart people will buy it. But the fact of the matter is that's the pitch. Sell your house for more money in less time with less hassle. Boom. I mean, I went to an agent one day, a broker, and I said, I want to ask you about an opportunity to speak with your agents, but I know that home inspectors are crap speakers and generally, and they don't really have a cool message. But I said, what if I could do this? What if I could show your agents a way to sell their listings quicker for more money and with less hassle? Would you be interested in me talking about that? You know what he said? When can you be here?
Mhm.
Okay, because the broker realizes the value of it. So if you have brokers that you have any relationship with, for goodness sakes, talk to them about it. Pitch it that way. Don't say it's pre-listing inspections. You're like, no, that's not what it is. Okay. That might be what you call it, but the results, the net benefit to their agents are sell the homes for more money. What's the broker loves that. With less hassle, he loves that. And for less time, he loves that. It improves his cash flow. So the broker wants you to discuss that with the agents. And he's probably talked to them about it till he's blue in the face and they just aren't listening because they're independent contractors. Okay. They don't have to listen. All right. Anybody else got anything else? I just wanted to see what people are doing. We're putting together all the new marketing materials. I just wanted to run this past you. But I really want you to put your thinking caps on. How can I improve my existing program today?
Mhm.
Okay. To take advantage of these things. All right. Anybody going once, going twice? Thanks for being on the call. Appreciate it. Home Inspector Huddle is a free service. Get on there, talk all you want. There's never a charge for it. We like to have questions, interaction on Home Inspector Huddle. It's a new product. We're building it up, and this is a part of it. And it's all no cost to you guys, our friends, the home inspectors. All right.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Alright,
much.
bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
Have a
night.
great week. Bye
Everybody
now.
stay safe.
Bye now.